Hey guys, we made it to season 5 of the Us People podcast. I'm your host, Savia Rocks, and in this season, we aim to empower and embrace creativity through diversity as we dive into the fascinating stories and experiences of a diverse range of individuals, highlighting their unique perspectives and creative endeavors, from artists and entrepreneurs to innovators and activists. We celebrate the power of diversity in driving creativity and fostering positive change. Join us as we engage in thought-provoking conversations like...
I made myself intentionally homeless in pursuit of my purpose.
We're aware that a lot of people want to present and they were in my position, and what's worse, they weren't a white male, which is a joke that's even still a thing.
I think my family never ever say you can't do something, so full of support for whatever dream. If I said tomorrow I want to fly to the moon, they'll probably say I wish you all the best, Mel.
So guys, I just want to say thank you for supporting the Us People podcast for the past 5 years, and we look forward to sharing another new theme song with you. Let's go.
Hey everyone, my name is Vijay. I'm a neurodiverse character artist, workshop facilitator, and public speaker. You're listening to the Us People podcast with Savia Rocks.
I had to overcome a lot of obstacles just to get here. Embrace your
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Us People podcast. I'm your host, Savia Rocks, and today I am humbled to have Vijay here with me, who is a neurodiverse character artist, workshop facilitator, and public speaker. Vijay, thank you so much for taking your time to come on the Us People podcast. How are you?
Morning, Savia. Thank you for having me in this opportunity. It's a blessing to be here.
I love that. So Vijay, my first question for me, and he's smiling, guys, he's smiling. My first question for you is, could you tell me a bit about yourself, where you grew up, and how that influenced you to be the person who you are today?
So I'm born and raised in Watford, which is a part of Greater London, but parts of my upbringing were also in Bristol and Brighton, which are creative hotspots. And my upbringing and everything I've been through, it has made me who I am today. Mm-hmm. So, and I wouldn't change anything for the world.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I wouldn't change anything either. I think every child challenge and tribulation, as they say, makes us who we are today. So my next question is one of my favorite questions that I do love asking people, which is, can you define who you are as a person, but also who do you see when you look in the mirror? But on the flip side of that question, has there ever been a time where you have looked in the mirror and not recognized the person staring back at you? How did you manage to go from a person that you didn't feel was you and a reflection of you to becoming the person that you wanted to be?
That's many questions there in one.
It is.
Off the back of your first question, I think everything is sort of serendipity, synchronicity, God incidence, as I call it. So, look at the colors we're wearing. It's great. How do I define myself as a person? The funny thing is I don't actually believe in labels, so to speak, but I know I need to use them to communicate. So my name actually means victory through truth. Vijay is it's an Indian name, and that's what that means. It's the equivalent of Victor or Victoria if it was a feminine name. So I actually believe I'm a spirit. I believe in God, and I believe I'm a spirit inhabiting this body. So on a worldly level, I would introduce myself as a neurodiverse character artist, workshop facilitator, and public speaker advocating for intersectionality, hidden disabilities, neurodiversity, CPTSD, and I'm also an aspiring data analyst. So that's me as how I define myself. In terms of when I look in the mirror, what do I see? Well, I don't actually look in the mirror that much. But when I do, I see light reflecting back, because the mirror, it's a reflection is light, So I see light, but then I don't also miss any darkness that's there either. I like to keep it real. And I think what the reflection says depends on, when I'm looking in the mirror, and what the lesson is that I need to learn at the time. So that's in terms of what the reflection says back. On the reverse side, there's been many a time where I've looked in the mirror and I haven't recognized myself, through my life. I'm a different version to where I am now to where I was growing up as a child, So, but then again, as I said, I don't believe I'm just this body. I'm much more, So those are my answers to your questions. I hope that answers all this.
No, it's absolutely fine. It's whatever I feel resonates with you and connects with you at that time. And that's how you feel, and then you implement that into your answer to help other people understand who you are. So question 3 for me is, if you had to define your life story with the part that stands out for you, what would you tell the listeners about your path of life, and how has it given you a story to tell the world?
Well, this is a long answer, so
no, I like
brace
this.
yourself.
Okay, this is good.
So my answer to that question is, I'm born in the 80s to a Indian family, and my mom's side is from Kenya, and she had a business in Kenya with her brothers and sisters, and my dad's side is actually from India, and that's where I sort of get my creativity from. So my business interest comes from my mom's side, my creativity comes from my dad's side. Now, in terms of my ancestors, it's always been in my blood to create. I love working with my hands and creating anything DIY, etc. But that is because my ancestors were blacksmiths, railroad workers, goldsmiths. So that and they work really hard. They're really hard workers, and there was a lot of poverty, and they saw things that I probably won't even see in my lifetime, to be honest with you. So that's where I get my work ethic. Now, I was raised by my grandparents, my parents, my uncles, my aunts, my cousins, and they gave me a lot of love, and I experienced the beautiful Indian culture with all its food and all the colors and all the art, So I was very blessed with love. But on the flip side, there was also things that were not so comfortable to deal with, and not spoken about. So it was quite confusing growing up in dual cultures,
Yes.
being a British Indian, as there were conflicting ideas, East meets West, sort of speak. So as a child, I masked. I didn't fit in. I was quite sensitive. I was awkward socially, and so I just focused. I was the boy drawing in the corner. I just focused on my special interest, which was art. And before art, actually, I introverted into my imagination, and I dreamt. I had these visions, and I dreamt, and then I began to assemble and organize and play. And after the play, art became my therapy, my language, my freedom, my everything. So it's still everything to me today. And this is where I started solving technical problems and helping my peers in my class through art and creativity. And so then as I grew up, I began helping more and more people using art and creativity. And I saw that the problem of expression is a wider problem in society. And now 20% of the population are neurodiverse, like myself,
Yes.
and growing. That's 12 million people. And so that's why I'm helping the children, doing the workshops that I'm doing to help them express themselves. So just to go back and forth into the answer in terms of the timeline of my life, my dad is the one that showed me how to hone my skill of art. And, from a young age, and he would always come in the room and say, oh, turn the portrait you're painting upside down. What do you see? Because as I said, his family come from blacksmiths, they did diamond cutting and everything. So he has a creative eye, creative flair. So it was really good to have him beside me, disciplining me. So I started drawing cartoons. I was really into watching TV with my brother, and watching cartoons and animations, Tom and Jerry, Dragon Ball Z, all sorts of cartoons. So I started copying the fan art. And at school, I was studying artists such as Dali and Picasso. And so, fast forwarding, there's only recently that I started to exhibit my own artwork. Now, going back again in time, life has been very painful and challenging from day one. When I was in the womb, when I was in my mother's womb, she had cancer in the womb. So we were both going to die, and thank God we survived. And this again makes me who I am as well. So fast forwarding a bit, when I was 4 to 5 years old, my grandfather passed away. So that was a very, being someone who's quite a highly sensitive person and an empath, not only that, but all the grievances in my family have impacted me quite deeply. So on the neurodiverse side, growing up, I was unknowingly neurodiverse. Like in the 80s, there was no support for, in school. I just worked hard. My uncles and aunts and family tried to help me, but they didn't really understand, the challenges I was facing. I used to have meltdowns, shutdowns, which is what I know now what they are. But when I couldn't do my homework, I would cry. I faced bullying and discrimination, racism. All this sort of created complex trauma. So I have CPTSD, which is complex trauma. And I was quite overwhelmed, emotionally dysregulated. I struggled to communicate and express myself. And things with pressure, I didn't really do well with, like exams, where we didn't get extra time because they didn't know that I had any issues. I was always late, punctually speaking, and I was sensitive to all sorts of textures, foods, light. And again, there were no quiet rooms. There wasn't any support. And in terms of sports, I was always hypermobile, but I didn't know it. So I was always injuring myself, and my mom was always writing notes that Vijay can't do PE today. So fast forwarding again, I think it's a miracle that through all that, I attained my BA honours in 2D digital animation in 2010 from the University of Hertfordshire. And the second year of my degree, I did get my first sort of adult diagnosis of dyslexia, which I got partial support for, but not the full support. So post 2010, it was the recession, and I struggled with employment. So I worked in various different sectors, and I found that I found myself always helping others using creativity, whether it was a support worker role or whatever it was. I was often told to create workshop sessions. So fast forwarding a bit further, 2015 is what I call the sort of trigger moment in terms of my health. Fast forwarding to 2015, I developed food poisoning. I got this nasty bug called Shigella, which I wouldn't wish on anyone. It's known to have killed elderly people and children. So I after having this food poisoning, I ended up in hospital on a drip for 16 hours in a side room. And, I won't describe the details of what my gut was going through, but there was only a small window which was slightly ajar, and that's all I could see for the time I was in the hospital. And my family visited me, my immediate family, but I was having some hassle from the nurse and everything, and it was just I think one of the lowest points, because when you become sick, it's really difficult to explain. It's a life pivoting moment. But off the back of that, I developed many gray area ailments, including post-infectious IBS. The fatigue didn't go. I had deficiencies. I developed MECFS, which is chronic fatigue syndrome, and chronic pain, which is called fibromyalgia. So I developed all these things. Now, obviously, I tried to maintain employment, but I faced discrimination and against the Equality Act 2010, which wasn't nice to experience either. Fast forwarding to 2020 onwards is when I got my late adult diagnoses of ADHD, OCD, mast cell activation syndrome, which is to do with the immune system. It basically means if my immune system was a nightclub, there would be more bouncers there. And so thus I've developed a histamine intolerance from that. Another thing that I have been diagnosed with is called dysautonomia. This simply means my nervous system is fried. So I started, attaining all these labels. I say I don't believe in labels, but all these labels are what I'm using to communicate across what's been happening. And so currently I'm having all this expensive private treatment to address all these gray area ailments, chronic ailments, hidden disabilities. And, I just want to take a moment to shout out a few people, if that's okay. Iqbal Mohiuddin from I Am Psychiatry. He has helped me a lot, him and his team. My traumatologist, Amanda Wells Traumatology, she's in Watford. Reach out to her if you can. The London Hypermobility Unit. This place has helped me so much with my hypermobility, and Central Health Physiotherapy, which I connected them as well. And there's so many other people I could mention in terms of my health journey, but just want to fast forward a bit in answer to this question. So in 2022, my friend passed away, and to this day, I don't know what happened to him, how he passed away. And that I didn't really get closure from that situation. So that really impacted me. It's driven me to work on my goals more, and these workshops, to help children and people express themselves is like just even more important, having experienced that. Just going to bounce back and forth a little bit. Since 2021, I've exhibited in Hertfordshire and London, much of my artwork, my character design. I create a series of characters and artworks, so I've been exhibiting those. In 2023, I completed the Hatch Launchpad New Founders Program, and that was amazing. Also, I've done a few business courses, creative business courses, but Hatch was just, it was something quite pivotal as well, because it helped me to develop that growth mindset, that problem solving, and so I've been bootstrapping that business idea along with my, managing my health issues. And I have 12 years of experience of facilitating workshops, which I've held in Hertfordshire, London, Windsor, and online. So again, I want to shout out Hatch, which have been amazing, the Disability Awareness Festival, Suzanne from there, who gave me the opportunity, Parallel Windsor, Andrew Douglas and the team, Uncommon, A Second Voice, which is where I met you, Savia.
Yep, that's
Vanessa's
correct.
doing amazing things with her team. We wouldn't have this conversation if she, if I hadn't met her. And and AIM as well. AIM is Autistic Inclusive Meets, which is in Woolwich in London.
Yeah.
And Emma and Owen gave me the opportunity to do a workshop there recently. So like for me, just looking at this list like of people I'm mentioning, that's where it started with Hatch. I completed the program, and then from there I went to the Disability Awareness Festival, just attended it, and I met Andrew, who was selling me some purple socks, and I bought the purple socks, and he got me onto the Hatch program. And from there is where Parallel Windsor is where I've developed my workshops on a mass scale, and from the back of that I've been using the material, the artwork I've created at Parallel, to deliver all these other workshops. So I mean, if one thing didn't happen, the other thing wouldn't happen. I really believe in
That's true.
God incidence, synchronicity, serendipity. So, and just the final part of my answer to this question is, I'm a realist. I want to say what the problem is at hand, but also, on a positive spin, it's always been for me about my visions and my dreams, and how can I make them, how can I make the untangible tangible? I'm of a growth mindset. My environment may not have been growing up, but I am, and I've always been solving problems. My apparent weaknesses, I see them as strengths, such as, for example, in having ADHD, we hyperfocus. But this has allowed me to get into the flow state and in the zone where I'm free from everything and I can create all that art, or I'm using it now to speak to you. I'm wired in a different way, totally different way. I'm not, I'm visual. I see patterns. I see sequences. This is why I studied animation. And ADHD has helped me create all these ideas. OCD has helped me to organize all these ideas, so like this is my message. It's that I've had much hardship, but I persevered. I haven't let that get in the way of my goals and my visions. And it is very challenging bootstrapping a business idea, having health issues, but I just want to be that sort of inspiration for perseverance, in a sense that you can do it if you put your mind, if you have this vision, like you can make things happen. Like all the houses that you see, the cars and the streets, it's all been designed by someone.
Yes.
It was an idea in someone's head first, and you can look to God in the same way. The trees, you see the Fibonacci sequence, which is this spiral that you see in shells in nature. You might see the veins of a leaf, and the way the tree is branched out, and you will see the nervous system. There's so much things that I guess we don't fully understand, and I just humble myself. I say I don't know anything, but I'm sharing this story, parts of this story. I've missed out loads, but that's a sort of the key points, the long answer to that question of the main sort of bits of my life that make me who I am, and helping me tell my story.
I love the way that you articulated that for everyone to understand it. And you've definitely been through so many different things, and I always believe, just like you do, everything happens for a reason. Everything. And that's
Exactly.
how you connect and meet people, just like how we met, and sometimes you may not, a lot of people in the world may not feel like their story has substance to share. But the one beautiful thing that I love being able to do is to let everyone know that we all have a story inside us. It just takes the right person to be able to pull that story out of you, to let everybody else know there is a story inside you which you can share with the world. And sometimes we think our stories are not worthy because we're not seeing the impact or effect that our stories have to people. But a lot of the time, one of the things that I will say is, when you do share your story with people, there are millions of people in the world who will listen to it. And in the background, without you knowing, good karma will come to you because you're helping those people understand that they are not by themselves.
Mm.
And I think that is a beautiful thing to be able to do in the world. And the more that we do that selflessly, the more that we're able to help people understand that there are people who have substance within themselves and their story, who are empaths just like yourself, and want to be able to help people. So thank you for sharing that with us. Can you walk me through a day in your life from when you wake up in the morning? I actually love this question because it's quite fun as well, because you can be really creative with it. So can you walk me through a day in your life from when you wake up in the morning to when you become really creative, to when you're having a passionate idea, or feeling like your ideas are all over the place? Because us creative people, our minds are completely different. We're wired completely differently. To spending time with family and then deciding to rest. What is a day like in Vijay's life?
Well, a day in my world is quite challenging. It's full of a lot of pain. It's full of a lot of challenges, but blessings also. So I'm a night owl. I've always been a night owl since I was little, and I struggle to sleep. Are you a night owl also?
I am, always, literally. So I would wake up. Well, I wake up really early at 5 o'clock, and then I'd meditate, and then I would, do my daily tasks and whatnot. And then later on in the day, for some reason, say anything around 9 o'clock, my brain would start to tick a lot faster. And it can go on, Vijay, until 4 or 5 in the morning sometimes. And sometimes I don't sleep because I feel like the adrenaline of my creativity is having that moment. And that's why a lot of people who are quite formal people, and maybe financial people, or the people who do a 9 to 5, and there's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5. I will always stipulate that there is nothing wrong with it. But they will never understand how our mind works. And I think that's what makes us geniuses in a way. I think is the empath of creativity within us to be able to express that.
I think so too. I think we are wired differently as neurodiverse, whatever label you want to use. I think we're in sync with colors, and we're in sync with what you just said there. So in terms of my day, as I said, I struggle to wake up early, have a lot of pain, have a lot of fatigue, which is just that's the challenge already. So I'm no stranger to discomfort and pain, but pain helps you grow, right? So the what I do in the morning, like before this session here, is I deploy my management strategies, and I move. This actually is in line with an organization called Movement Works, I think, that are helping neurodiverse children and adults realize the correlation between the body and movement and neurodiversity. So I'm just throwing that in there. But I do my movement, I do my physio. I try to stretch because my body's stiff and in pain. I do my guided visualizations. I do my meditation. I do my prayer. I do a lot of things in terms of my management strategy. And I do intermittent fasting as well. So I break my fast after 12. I try and go as long as I can without food, abstain and fast, because this is where the body can heal itself and regenerate. So I fast, I attend to my nutrition and my supplemental and medicinal needs. So I've worked out there's things that work and things that don't work in terms of nutritional supplements and herbs and medications and things. So I take those, and this is when I sort of wind up a bit more because I have a lot of brain fog as well, and cognitive issues, memory issues. So I then go into sort of admin tasks, emails, financial, any meetings, any medical appointments. Obviously, the first bit of the morning that I described will go if there's an appointment or a meeting or anything like that. But if I don't do these things, it's very difficult to be present in the moment, Yeah. So I need to sort of check in and be aligned to be able to receive and, the reflections and the teachings of my teachers, who I believe are everyone around me, So that's you included. So, once I've done the admin stuff, fast forwarding, I will have lunch at some point, and at the minute I'm enjoying salads a lot, like raw veggies is helping me a lot, and it's helped me manage some of my recent other health issues as well. So then I would, in the afternoon, again, any more appointments, I will tend to any family issues, anything like that. And when it gets to the sort of late afternoon, evening time is where I start working on promotion and networking, things like that, because I want to reach people, reach the world. As you said earlier, people are listening, and, there might be a person struggling who wants to listen, who wants some, inspiration or wants, help. So I do that. And then after dinner, which is around 6, 7 p.m., I try to eat earlier, as I said, with intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
I will then, tend to my creative endeavors, and I will, like, for example, since January to June for 6 months, I've created the 20 anthropomorphic characters that are designed for Parallel Windsor, which is a diversity disability festival in Windsor Great Park. Shout out to Andrew Douglas, who's the CEO, and the team who gave me the opportunity to work there. So that's been like the first 6 months of this year has been, just working really hard and using a graphics tablet, drawing all those characters into Photoshop, and it creates a lot of pain, the repetitive motions with my conditions, but persevere, push through, look at the bigger cause. So sometimes I get creative in the afternoons as well. It depends what the priority is, if that makes sense.
That's true.
And then as it gets later, this is going to sound a bit weird, but I start to. So from the Hatch program, I've developed an interest in data analytics, and I've started to learn programming. So I will do some of my programming online and learn some different types of coding or anything like that. That could be even late night if I'm on a commute somewhere or anything like that. And then it gets to the late night, which is where, again, I struggle. I've got ideas. I've got things like yourself, I've got things to do, but I need to sort of have downtime and facilitate that. So it's weird. I wouldn't advise this to people. This is not what's typically advised, but I watch Netflix and I need something on to be able to go to sleep. So Netflix will be on, or Prime will be on, or something will be on to distract me. And, I do, again, my whatever medicinal protocol, routine that I need to do to sort of deregulate, and sort of calm down. Because my default is I'm hype. I was walking at 6 months old. I was running at 6 months old, according to my parents, so I'm always hype. So it's a balance between moving, being hype, and sort of being still and actually listening and being present. So that's my daily routine. I don't know if you want to share your thoughts, Savia.
No, I love the fact that it's similar to mine, to be quite fair. What I know, what is quite funny, what I normally do to try and wind down is listen to jazz music and different types of jazz music. I love the piano, so that helps me a lot to be able to wind down, and also read a good book. That helps, and usually the book ends up falling on my face because obviously as you're listening to music that really intertwines with your soul, and you're reading a book at that same time, it helps to, I don't know, shift your energy into different places, to a place of peace, and that helps a lot for me. I know quite a few people who will watch a movie to just have it in the background, and it does distract you because it's there, and then all of a sudden you feel yourself slowly. It's kind of like hypnotherapy. It's like you're trying to give yourself hypnotherapy in a while, but it's really cool to be able to do. And I would tell people to try and find something that resonates with their soul.
Sound and vibration, I think we all sound, energy, vibration, light, whatever you want to call it, prana, chi, spirit, whatever label one wants to use. This is why I associate it. I'm spirit. So, and I believe in God. So there's a mission for me here on this plane that we're on, and for me, time is relative. You can view it how you wish, but for me, I have a very important goal, and hence why I really appreciate this opportunity, Savia, to speak on here. And for me, it's about, I'm connected to source, and it's all about alignment. Everything we need is already here around us. As I said, the trees have been designed, the cars and everything. It's all, the resources are all here. It's just we need to align to be able to fulfill our purpose, our mission, our vision on this earth. And, while we're here. So I just wanted to say that off the back of what you said there about, energy, vibration.
I like that. That makes a lot of sense to me. So my next question for you, Vijay, is could you talk to me about why you decided to do what you do, in a sense, and help children? Because I've seen it. You know what I've realized in life? There's one thing about talking about it, and then there's one thing about actually seeing it done. So if Vijay doesn't mind, I'm just gonna talk about what I've seen you do.
Okay.
So when you're in an environment where they are beautifully gifted, and this is how I say it, because people like to put labels. I don't believe in labels too. So for me,
high five.
Right there, right with you. So I believe in life that none of us should be defined by any type of label. Society decides to label you just so that they can put you in a box or a bracket, and that keeps you in one place. It makes you feel stiff. It makes you feel like you can't breathe because they're saying that I am this and I can't do this. That's not true at all. We are all beautifully gifted people in the world, and our gifts show that. And one of the reason why I say this is because when you see children and adults who see, do and hear things from a different perspective, different angles, even when you said to me, it's funny that you said it and I completely agree with you. So you said to me that you see everything kind of like in a graphical way. So, for example, I understand what you're saying, whereas other people might not. So let me see if I can articulate this. So when you say you see people in a graphical way, you could look at someone and to other people might just be like you're looking at another human being. But to you, you see the visual graphics of how someone's face is visually moving and how their hair's moving, how their mouth is moving. It's all completely on a different spectrum of how we all do things.
You know, who are struggling to express themselves, but the children are literally the future.
Yeah,
that child I'm doing the workshop with could literally be the next PM, could be next celebrity, could be the next influencer, could be the next, you know, whoever, sports person, Olympian, and they could go away years later and say, oh, I did that workshop and, you know, so and et cetera, right? But I'm doing this because, as I said, I'm the child from the 80s that didn't get the full support. There were people trying to help me, but I didn't get the full support in terms of neurodiversity, trauma, etc. You know, and I made it thus far, and there's such a huge amount of crises in terms of like mental health in terms of children. Just, you know, there's an organization I follow called Young Minds, and you know, they're highlighting the issues to do with children and, you know, depression, anxiety, and, you know, all this stuff. And like, I don't want children who are the future. I don't want the future to struggle like I did in the past, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to add that in to say that this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's why it's so important to do what I'm doing. In terms of being proud, I actually try and do the opposite, is be more humble. I'm just trying to be humble with everything, you know, as I said, like being so sick, you know, to the point nearly on the verge of death, you know, like, you know, seeing all this sort of destruction and death and in my life and pain, it highlights what a blessing it is to be alive, you know, and the short time, in a sense, that I have to complete my mission, which in a sense has already been completed though, because I mean, we're here, you know.
That's true.
We showed up, you showed up, I showed up, we're here, we're sharing this with the, you know, with those that are struggling, that are not heard, that are not seen, that don't believe themselves, you know, and have a low self-worth. And we're saying, you know, like, look, you got an idea in your head, you want to do something, you want to be something, you are something, you already are something, you are someone. You don't need to try and be like XYZ, because there is no normal, you know, there's no normal. We're all equally weird, which is cool, you know. And so be you, do you, you know, and if you have this vision in your head, you can make it happen. Like, it's just about breaking it down into baby steps, and you can make it happen. So I'll kind of diverge there. I don't know if I answer your question, but
no, it makes complete sense. Listen, everything happens at the right time for the right reason, and whatever is in your mind at that particular time, it comes out, and it just blesses everyone. Or you just say how you feel, and even if two people align with each other, but on the spectrum of aligning, they come slightly off scale, that's how it was meant to be, because that's what creates conversations and makes people's minds spark. So I've only got two more for you, and the second to last one is, when was the last time you remember feeling totally at peace with yourself?
It happens every day when I pray, to be honest.
Hey.
That's when I feel peace. I you know, in my life it's been difficult to have peace, but because of all the things that I've mentioned before, but now I think it's getting easier, you know, aligning with the source, what is God, you know, like tuning in, like learning the so-called problems and the, you know, the challenges that I've had that I didn't know, you know, now I'm more aware, so I'm more conscious. So, you know, I can go to that place. It takes a lot of work, but I can go to that place and of peace, you know, and joy and love and trust. It's possible. So that's my answer to your question there.
No, I love that. So I would love for everyone to be able to find you on all your social media platforms, any courses that you do for adults or children, how can they find you, get in contact with you, but even just have a conversation with yourself, because it's embracing to just even do that, and that can help so many parents and families understand exactly what you've been through and what they are going through.
Well, I'm on my journey. I'm building myself up. I haven't, there's a lot of work to do in terms of the business side of things. But you can find me at Vijay Panchal, fine artist, on Instagram, and I'm also on LinkedIn as well, where I'm very transparent with my profile and what I'm going through, and put posts up on there. I'm not so much on Facebook and other things because of my neurodiversity, I struggle with this current age of information and like keeping up with all this information. It's moving so fast, So, but I'm happy to give my, if you want my number, if you want my email address, you have those, Savia. So if anyone listening to this, if you want any help, if you want, because I have information on not just creativity, but like health, like different things, and I'm always sharing that information. If I'm tuned in, and actually this is another thing. I try to follow my intuition and my gut instinct, and like what color top was I going to wear today?
We're both wearing the same color.
I literally that was a last minute decision, So sorry, I'm sidetracking, but you have my details, Savia. If anyone wants to reach me, please reach me, and I'm happy to help share information. I don't want anyone to struggle on their own. If it's the parents with the children, they don't know what to do. Like, I don't have all the answers, but if I know something, I'll share it with you. So at Vijay Panchal, fine artist, Savia, reach out to Savia. She can give you my details, my email, my mobile number. I give her permission. So, and I have my website. It's not fully updated, but it's vijaypanchal.weebly.com. So if you want to follow me on there as well, that's me. I'm a work in progress. But yeah, feel free to reach out to me.
Listen, you're a positive work in progress. See it that way.
I like that.
Always see life that way. Always see life as your cup is halfway full, and then the rest will fill it up, and then it will just abundantly flow over. So then you'll give anyways. It's just one of those things that happens in life. So Vijay, I want to thank you so much for taking your time. And no matter how many technical issues we went through, we won. And that in itself is a beautiful thing. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your kindness, your story, more importantly, and just being able to help people in the world to understand that they are not alone.
Well, I just got to say, Savia, thank you for this opportunity. Can't thank you enough. Like, it's such a blessing to be able to, be in this safe space that you facilitate, to share my life experience, what I've been through and what I'm doing, I can't thank you enough, and I'm just so happy. It's so aligned. It was so synchronized, and, it's just a blessing. So I would say to people, check out Savia, check out what she's doing on Us People, and, it's just awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. I want to thank you so much for listening to the Us People podcast. And please remember, you can listen and subscribe by going to any platform that you choose to. You can also leave us a review on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or any platform that you prefer to listen to, watch. It completely up to you. You'll also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can also donate to the Us People podcast so we can continue to hear beautiful stories that help impact people all over the world and give them the information and education that they deserve and need. Guys, this is where I say to you, thank you so much again for listening. Stay happy, stay positive, and as always, please continue to be kind to one another. Take care. Of the night, you
honestly. Nothing was put on me, on camera, off camera. This is it, you know. So it's just so cool. Like, it's just such a blessing, you know. It's awesome. Everything's the technical faults. I'm glad there were technical faults because it just drove us more to get this, you know.
Yeah,
down.
it's true.
So, yeah, it's good. It's a blessing.
It's true. We were more determined to get it done just because of it.
Redirect this to you, you'll see the power in yes, if you try. I fly like I'm Superman. Spread your wings and let the wind glide. I fly like I'm Superman. Spread your wings and let the wind glide. I fly like I'm Superman. Spread your wings and let the wind glide. I fly like I'm Superman. Spread your wings and let the wind glide you high. We're just soaring through this journey, leaving fear far behind. Our hearts are full of courage. You can win if you try. Redirect the yes to you. You'll see the power in yes if you try.